Hi, friends. I'm filming this video for my own selfish reasons because we are approaching the end of the year. I know. And it is around this time that I start thinking about my best ofs. And I wanted to zero in on foundation today because sometimes when you try a lot of foundations, you kind of forget the ones that you've tried, ones that you loved, and you gain new favorites. You're like, why did I like that one so much? I don't remember. With that said, I thought we can take a look at all the new foundations I acquired over the last year. I went foundation crazy in the last month or so, like 2-3 months, but I think what I'm looking at now are pretty much the new ones I've used for 2022. I hope. We'll take a look at them each, also go on the Sephora product page for some perspective, like light coverage, medium coverage, because I myself sometimes forget like the product details of what I'm using, and I thought we can go from lightest to heaviest in terms of coverage. And why not? Let's start with the Rose Inc, the Skin Enhanced Luminous Skin Tint Serum Foundation. I highly recommended this product when I first bought it. It is my lightest coverage product in the complexion category, and I have the shade number 80, which is said to be for medium tan skin tone with a peach undertone. Light coverage, radiant finish, weightless, sheer, the characteristics, barely there, just enough. And I quite enjoy this for days where I just needed that easy evening of skin tone. I didn't want a lot of coverage. I didn't want to commit to a product that would also call for cheek products as well. I'm very comfortable just applying this alone with the cream foundation. That was the route I was going when using the Rose Inc Skin Tint. Up next, we have the Danessa Myricks Beauty Yummy Skin Blurring Balm Powder. I have this freaking product in 3 shades. I know. What I have with me now are shades 5 and 6. And to briefly present those, 5 is medium tan skin with golden undertones, and 6 is tan skin with neutral undertones. This is also considered to be a light coverage product, natural finish, a cream to powder hybrid texture reducing, coverage boosting, blurring balm that balances oils throughout the day while maintaining hydration. So I will place this right after the Rose Inc in terms of coverage, more so perhaps appropriate for normal to oily skin types who seek out that oil controlling property throughout the day, whereas the Rose Inc more like a skin tint, radiant finish, luminous. So if you're more probably normal to dry, that'll be a better matchup for you with your skin type. The next one up, this was tricky. I could go either with the Nars or the Haus Labs. I'll go in with Nars because actually I failed to remember this. The Nars Light Reflecting Foundation is considered also, like the Haus Labs, to be a skincare makeup hybrid product. I have 2 shades, Syracuse and Valencia. Syracuse is my preferred shade because it's a little more golden. To get the rundown, however, specifically Syracuse MD1 is medium to medium deep with warm undertones. An advanced makeup skincare hybrid foundation with a natural finish that quickly blurs and smooths while visibly improving skin's clarity over time. The clarity, I don't know if it happened. I really can't tell you. I enjoy the Nars foundation for its lightweight texture, its ease in blend, the fact that it can provide coverage, blurring, a luminous radiant finish without feeling heavy on the skin. Probably due to those skin-loving ingredients in the formula, right? Much like how you would apply a serum or an advanced type of a moisturizer with all those fun stuff in it. I particularly enjoy the Nars color match. I think Syracuse is a beautiful shade on me. It definitely gives me a little more of that warmth where, it will start to change as we go into winter, but I'm gonna still try to look golden, fam. Now I'll present the Haus Labs by Lady Gaga, the Triclone Skin Tech Medium Coverage Foundation with Fermented Arnica. I have the shade 330 Medium Cool, and perhaps out of all the foundations I have laid out in front of me, this is the one. Floored by how well this foundation matched my complexion. And again, 330 Medium Cool, medium with cool golden olive undertones. I love that. It's exactly what it says, and creamier than the Nars. And also the Nars pump, unfortunately, is a bit of a disaster. It leaks. I don't know why. I had read a few comments about that in the product reviews. And it also doesn't pump out a ton of product at once, whereas a Haus Labs pumps out a lot more for my entire face. Sometimes I just do half a pump because it is very creamy. It glides across the skin. It has a little more fluidity than the Nars, but I do see them through a similar lens when providing that light medium coverage. You can build it up successfully without it looking too heavy on the skin. The Haus Labs has more of like a milkier texture than the Nars, where the Nars is more like a light lotion. Does that make any sense? Amazing product. I adore how my skin looks when I apply the Haus Labs. And going into the next two, so I'll just show these two together because I really don't know how to place them. It's the Hourglass Ambient Soft Glow and the Patrick Ta Major Skin Cream Foundation duo with the finishing powder. I believe those two are considered to be medium coverage products, but just to double check, going into the Hourglass product page, my gripe with the Hourglass, the undertones, really hard to match up. I went through 12, 11, 11.5, finally settled on 11 and 11.5. 12 was a little too yellow on me, and it would have looked, I think, more obvious as my color would start to change going deeper into the season. So I insisted on sticking with 11, which is medium with neutral undertone, and man, is it neutral. And then 11.5 medium deep with warm undertones. Looks a little peachy, but I do like that peachiness mixed with the neutral undertone from 11. It gives my complexion a little bit more life, where 11 by itself is actually a nice shade match, but it could appear a little too dull. That's what I identified when I tried 11 on its own. Overall, I've been mixing everything together if I really wanted to adjust the shade and be successful with that. In terms of the coverage, let's see here, looking at a weightless liquid foundation that delivers buildable medium coverage with a light diffusing effect for up to 16 hours. The Hourglass does have more holding power than the Haus Labs, and the Nars, does it really? I think the Nars holds up well too. Despite it being a skincare hybrid, it's pretty great in looking fresh on the skin for a long amount of time. And then lastly, we have Patrick Ta. Let's pull up Patrick Ta. I have medium 3, which is described to be golden warm. And going into the coverage, a duo that includes a blendable medium coverage cream foundation paired with a satin finish powder. So I guess since Hourglass is buildable, perhaps the Hourglass, out of all the new foundations I tried this year, will be my highest coverage product. And the Patrick Ta will sit just under there. Now that we've covered all the products and I presented the shade descriptions and such, you can kind of, I think, gauge that I sit like medium deep depending on the brand. I like neutral golden. I think that is my undertone, but I'm still quite not sure. I could be totally wrong. So here is the Rose Ink, Danessa Blurring Skin in 5, Danessa's Blurring Skin Balm in 6, Nars Light Reflecting in Syracuse, Haus Labs in 330 Cool, Patrick Ta Major Skin in Medium 3, Hourglass Ambient Soft Glow in 11, and the Hourglass Ambient Soft Glow in 11.5. So here are all the foundation swatches that I've been using for the year. You can see that actually, Nars is very warm compared to the other swatches. The other shades, I think, sit pretty neutral, and that's the best matchup for my complexion. So I thought, why don't we go into the actual demo? Yes, I'm applying all these. I got my face halo on standby. I don't do this often, so my skin will be okay. It's a minor sacrifice for the video. I just hope it's helpful to you, fam. With all product details and swatches out the way, I think it's time for you to come in a little closer. That's enough. Going in with the Rose Ink first, which again is our lightest coverage product and one that I particularly enjoy just applying with my fingers because it is like a skin tint, a skincare product. I think it really nice to just get it on quickly in a way that it's just fast, you know what I'm saying? Although you can see my blemishes left behind, I think overall why I appreciate the product is just its ability to even out my skin tone quickly, yeah? So compared to this side, you can see there's a little more uniformity here, is more even. My blemishes you can still see, but they're not as prominent. There is a slight blurring effect, I think, when I apply the Rose Ink skin tint. And I do appreciate the dry down in terms of it not being drying on the skin. It has a nice texture when it does set, and it leaves behind that slightly luminous finish. I think if I wanted more coverage, I'll just go in with my LYS concealer, but overall, not bad. Going into the Danessa now, I will apply number 6 because that is, I think, my best shade match out of all the ones that I have. Using no other than the new BK Beauty 109 mini contour brush, hopping into shade 6 from the Danessa Balm. And I typically like to just press the product into the skin. It acts very quickly in terms of providing that coverage and also some oil control, as the product description explained. You don't need a ton, but I can see how one could over apply the skin blurring balm just because how easy it is to get on the skin. You could also use your fingers. It's a very carefree product, right? Very easy to get on, pounce it on, you can swirl it on. I've seen Danessa mostly pounce on her skin blurring balm, but you know, whatever method you think best for your skin type, go for it. Definitely compared to the Rose Ink, there's not as a prominent luminous finish as you see here with the tint, but there is more coverage. Now granted, maybe I have more blemishes on this side. I think they're distributed pretty easily, and you can probably see that there is a lot more coverage from the Danessa blurring balm despite it being light. I think the nature of the product just has a little more coverage with that formula. And ultimately, I can put on the skin tint first and then a little bit of the blurring balm after for those spots that need more coverage. Using the blurring balm now, I forgot. See, this is why I needed to do the video, fam, because revisiting products that I bought and I think worth going back to and using, you know? I can't just use it once and throw it away. That'll be silly. Up next is the Nars. Remember, look how warm the Nars was. Oh my goodness. The light reflecting, going with the lighter coverage. Yes, so let's apply it on this side of my face first. And I like to go in with a swirling type of an application when it comes to liquid foundation. I think this approach best works the product into the skin, so it just fuses and it doesn't appear artificial. And I think you can see just how quickly the Nars works while still it appearing like my skin. It doesn't look like a mask. It just sinks. It's such a lovely consistency, very fluid on the blend, and it doesn't look flat either. It truly does act like a skincare product, but with lovely coverage. And why I always reached for it, you know, just the effortless nature of it. And what I kind of This is gonna sound so bad. What I kind of wish the Lisa Eldridge did for me. This is what I was expecting from the Lisa Eldridge foundation, just like that perfect cocktail of matte and a little bit of radiance left behind. Really nice coverage as well, but it just appeared a little flat on me in terms of how it dried down. I like the color match, but I just wasn't crazy about the texture. But the Nars, again, it just has this beautiful way about it. So dramatic in terms of how easy it blends, and you don't need a lot of product to get the level of coverage you're looking for. Especially you could adjust that by using a smaller brush on the regions that need more coverage without having to apply more on larger regions of your face, so it can still look and appear like your skin. Pinning that up against now the Haus Labs. This will be very interesting because the Haus Labs is so much cooler than the Nars in the undertone sense. And again, the Haus Labs is like such a milky texture. It's oddly satisfying to apply. I don't know what it is. I just love applying the Haus Labs foundation. It's a lot of fun. You're like, what does that even mean, Alicia? What are you saying? A little goes a long way with the Haus Labs. You don't need a ton. Whatever you applied on the skin, just work it well and take your time with it. So there's a little more, I guess you could see, a little more warmth on this side from the Nars, and this appears a lot more neutral, but it's not dull. That's what I adore about the Haus Labs match. The medium cool with the golden olive is nailed it. They're very similar in terms of the dry down. Skin-like in finish, yes, but the skincare product element, I think, very much pronounced in each. It doesn't feel dry on the skin. It doesn't feel like a foundation. It's not soft matte. They're very similar, I think. Perhaps there might be slightly better holding power from the Nars because I do detect just how it feels on my skin, that it will stay on there a little bit longer before breaking down. Whereas the Lady Gaga foundation might break down a little bit before that. I could be making that up. I don't quite know, but I do enjoy both thoroughly. I could easily use these interchangeably, right? Either will work for me. The texture is lovely on the skin. The actual shade match, although the Nars is a little warmer, dead on from the Haus Labs. I enjoy both. Lastly, we got the Patrick Ta and the Hourglass. The Patrick Ta foundation, I explained in my Sephora haul, my I'm a Sim Sephora haul video, that it's easy to over apply just because how easily accessible it is, right? Going from here to here, much like what I explained about the Danessa Balm, right? You could over apply both the Danessa Balm and the Patrick Ta foundation cream 100% because it just dab blend. And before you know it, it's like, ooh, maybe I applied a little too much. I'm very conservative with how much of the Patrick Ta I apply. As you see here, whatever I have on the brush, I make sure to work that in to the skin well before hopping in for another dose, right? You probably don't need it. And it's easy coverage. I mean, that's phenomenal for as little product as I used. What I do notice is that over time, it does break down faster than the Nars and also the Haus Labs. I could see a little bit of gathering here on and around my jaw area, around my mouth area with the Patrick Ta, which is why I'm happy to have identified early on, don't need a lot of this product, because if you apply too much, it could look cakey very quickly, or it will look fine initially and then it'll break down cakey over the course of a few hours. So be conservative with the Patrick Ta. I just enjoy its ease of application, its accessibility. It doesn't have the same luminosity as the Nars and the Haus Labs, or even the Rose Ink skin tint. Losing all the names in my head. But it has a little more luminosity than the skin blurring tint, for sure. It's very creamy on the skin, very soft, also works well under several cheek products. All these foundation products work well under my favorite cheek products, and the color match is fantastic. It's not too warm, not too like dead on where it just makes me look dull. It has a little bit of that golden, I think, just enough that it doesn't look out of place. And lastly, we got the Hourglass. We have arrived. Why don't I do, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a little bit of 11 on the outer perimeters and then place number 11.5 on the inner, just so you can see. So this is 11, much like the Patrick Ta, and I would say also with the Haus Labs, a little goes a long way. Okay, you don't need a lot of this foundation. This is 11.5, so you see the neutral undertone of 11 and then 11.5 here. I like to place the peachier undertone on the innermost part of my face and then have 11 on the outer, so it comes into that really nice gradient. The Hourglass, it's so quick in terms of the speedy coverage, fam. Like, it doesn't, you don't need a lot of this foundation. It could look makeup-y very quickly. I actually just like to apply half a pump, not even the full pump. I think that's way too much. I'm just hitting the center of my nose here because I got this thing that it just wants to show itself, and I'm like, no. Look how that erased all my imperfections without a lot of product. And again, you can see that more luminous finish that it's just wonderful. And it also has more of a set than the Patrick Ta. The Patrick Ta I like too. I adore the product, but there's more of a finished set from the Hourglass. It has a velvety texture about it that just feels more refined than the Patrick Ta. Although the Patrick Ta might be a better skin match because it has that more of a golden undertone, whereas I have to mix 11 and 11.5, so 11 on its own won't make me appear too dull. But oh my goodness, it's just so I really like the Hourglass foundation. And I had mentioned when trying it for the first time that it is still in heavy contention with the Nars because I adore the Nars. But when I try this Hourglass foundation, my thoughts halted. It was like, what are you gonna do? Who are you gonna pick? That's why I wanted to film this video, because I needed to revisit all these foundations to come to a decision. Best of foundation of 2022. It's gonna be tough, fam. I will reveal that pick when I actually do the video. But this was helpful to do. It definitely gave me a little more perspective seeing all these foundations in action and remembering how they looked like, how they performed, whatnot, and so forth. Although I could present different categories, I think it unfair to include the Rose Ink in the same category as the Hourglass. These are totally two different products. I mean, this is super light coverage and this is a foundation, okay? So there might have to be like a light coverage category, fuller coverage category, although the highest I have in my collection is medium, buildable medium. I don't have a high coverage foundation that released in 2022 that I purchased anyway. Man, I'm looking at the Hourglass. And of course, the concealer is going to be easy pick. I've been using the LYS all year with brief interruptions using the Pat McGrath concealer because the team was nice to send me a few shades when they sent me Mothership 10 Moonlit Seduction. But the LYS is the one new concealer that I purchased. I didn't purchase the Charlotte Tilbury. I didn't get the Huda Beauty. I didn't even try the Sephora Best Skin Ever. There were probably a few other concealer standouts for 2022, but I didn't bother. I like the LYS. I like it. I'm gonna stick with that. Let me know, fam, what your picks are, what you're thinking about considering holding up as the best of 2022 foundation. Despite what I pick as the winner, I'm just thrilled with the foundation picks that I have in my collection. As I was trying them in the video, it just solidified the fact that no matter which one I choose, it's going to be a great experience. How it applies, the shade match, the wear, and I'm happy that I thought about these choices, that I didn't rush to buy it. Like, it took me a little bit to buy the Hourglass because it was so hyped when it was teased that they were coming out with a new foundation, and I just decided to just wait. Because at the time I was still using the Nars. I was also using Pat's foundation still, my RCMA. Like, there were several old favorites that I was still heavily using, and why I didn't run to get the Hourglass. Also why I didn't run to get the Haus Labs right away, but I'm happy that I did. I will continue to use these foundations, cocktail them like crazy. But this is what we're looking like so far. Pretty good, I gotta say. Like I said, fam, let me know what your favorites are in the comments. What you see in this video, your opinion down below will be much appreciated. I'll see you down there, and until then, that is a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up or maybe consider subscribing to my channel. And until then, I will see you on here again with another review tutorial. Best of leading up content for Alicia to figure out what her best ofs will be. Take care, and I will see you again soon.